Hello,
Hi.
and it is Amy Hart at Heartspark Press, and I am here with my friend Alys. Alys is going to be joining us today to read an awesome short story that she wrote. And here you go. I'm going to let her take it over.
Yeah. So I'm going to be reading 99% Chance of Magic. I always loved fantasy growing up, and this is kind of sort of the thing I thought I would have liked. So hopefully you'll like it too. Em turned to a new page in her diary/lab notebook. She sat between her bed and the wall, so her sister, who was at her computer, couldn't see what Em was writing. "I'm a witch," Em wrote in her most cursive-y cursive. She put the sentence on a new page to keep it separate from her observations of the moth she caught last night, so the sentence stood alone, the dark blue ink still wet. Em blew gently on it so it wouldn't smudge. Em had been a witch for a long time, but only figured it out today. Knowing she was a witch wasn't like knowing she was a girl. She had always known that, even when her mom and dad and brother and sister and grandma and grandpa and best friend and teacher and classmates thought she was a boy. It also wasn't like knowing her dad had eaten a sandwich in every country. That she thought was true, but now knew was dad kidding her by the way he smiled when he said it. Her first probably witchcraft was making her wilty plants for her science fair experiment healthy again by sending positive thoughts to the plants. She felt a little guilty for not including her spell in the method section of her poster, but she felt guiltier for almost letting her plants die of thirst. Her second probably witchcraft was after she dropped her calculator and broke the solar panel with an entire pre-algebra assignment to do. She laid the calculator on a washcloth and whispered to her desk lamp, asking it to shine extra bright to make up for her broken solar cells. She only made it through 12 problems, but a week later, the cracks were gone. She decided to tell her older brother Niall, her older sister Athena, her mom, and her dad about her new plan at dinner. She hid her diary/lab notebook in the gap between her mattress and the bed frame and got on her bed to see what her sister was doing. Her sister was staring at her computer, a used one her mom had fixed so Athena could do homework and practice graphic design. A black and white photo with yellow words on top of it was on the screen. "What are you doing?" Em asked, partly to annoy her sister, partly to hear her explain what she was doing. "Designing a poster," her sister said. "What for?" "Niall's band." Sure enough, Em could make out Niall with a bass guitar that used to be their dad's. "That's nice of you." Athena shrugged. "I need an example of poster design for my art school portfolio." "Can I see it?" Em said. Athena talked about her portfolio 2.5 times per day, so it must be at least a little interesting. Em reached for the gray binder. "Don't touch it," Athena said. Em yanked her hand away like she had been burned. "Sorry," Em said. "Emmy," her dad called, "can you help me with dinner?" She hopped off her bed and passed the bookshelf covered in green, purple, and blue Post-it notes that she had used to keep track of questions she still didn't know the answer to. "How many sandwich kinds are there really?" was scrawled on a yellow Post-it note that jostled a green Post-it note bearing, "How big are amoebas?" in inches. They were eating in the garden, as Athena used to call the small courtyard they shared with the other apartments, even though it wasn't very gardeny. There were flowers, but they were all dandelions, which their neighbors claimed didn't count. That seemed unfair to Em, but she was a witch, not a gardener. Mom's coworker, Mr. Wright, was visiting today. His jacket, shoes, slacks, and glasses were all brown, so Em hypothesized that brown was his favorite color. Em looked down at herself and realized her shirt and sneakers were both blue, even though blue was her third favorite color. She formulated a new hypothesis that brown was one of Mr. Wright's favorite colors. Mr. Wright taught something called Geographic Information Systems, which had to do with maps. Em liked maps, but Mr. Wright somehow made them boring. Em quickly ate the pasta carbonara. She was semi-okay with asparagus, so she ate that next. A small pile of spinach remained. Mr. Wright noticed. "Picky eater?" he asked her mom. Em didn't wait for her mom to respond. "I am not a picky eater. I try everything, or I decide I don't like it." And that was true too. One of her most used notebooks was labeled "Things I Like and Dislike and am ambivalent about." She added the last bit after Mom used ambivalent in a sentence. After forgetting how Mom spelled it, she first wrote it as ambivalent, but later fixed her mistake with whiteout. The notebook sat on her nightstand next to her magnifying glass, ready for her latest discovery. In it, she scored everything that she had tried out of 10. Mom smiled at Em. She's just very exciting. That sounded good, but Mr. Wright laughed. And loves to experiment, Dad said, giving her hand a squeeze. Exacting means you know exactly what you like and don't like, Niall whispered. Thanks, Em whispered back. Why did he laugh? Niall shrugged his grown-ups are weird shrug. What do you want to be when you grow up? Mr. Wright asked. Oh, he's talking to me. Em stopped thinking about how she could keep the clouds from raining on them. A witch, Em said. Shoot. She was going to wait until dessert. Dessert is the best time for good news, especially when dessert is mint chocolate cake. Everyone started laughing except Mom, who was holding back a giggle. Em suddenly felt hot and flushed and horrible and small. She wouldn't cry. She would walk away dignified while everyone collected themselves. As she stood up, Em knocked over a glass of water and everyone started laughing again. She bolted into the apartment building, ran up the stairs, opened the mercifully unlocked apartment door, and jumped on her bed. Safely alone, she let herself cry. Emmy, Dad called from the hallway. The first time he used that nickname for her, Em had been crying about having her backpack filled with notes calling her a boy. It always made her feel so good to hear him use her actual name. She was older now and had already stopped crying 10 whole minutes ago, but hearing Emmy come from Dad still made her feel better. What? Em asked, muffled by her pillow. Are you okay? Em heard the squeaky noise that always happened when someone stepped on the exact middle of the doorway. She had tested it. No. I'm sorry, Dad replied while sitting on the bed. Em's face was still in the pillow, but she could feel the bed springs compress. I shouldn't have laughed. It took me by surprise. It just wasn't the answer I was expecting. What was the answer you were expecting? A scientist, Dad said, putting his hand on her shoulder. You're smart and curious. You'd be great at it, but I will support whatever you decide. Including being a witch? Including being a witch. Em sniffed, pulled her head out of the pillow. I felt awful when everyone laughed. I know. Em wrapped her arms around Dad, and he wrapped his arms around her. It was time for dessert by the time Em and Dad came outside again. Mom gave her a long hug before she went inside to get the cake. I'm sorry, she whispered. Em sat down to Athena, who put her hand on Em's. Sorry, Em. Niall didn't apologize, but he gave her the first and largest slice of mint chocolate cake, which was actually better. Em took a bite. She closed her eyes, savoring the chocolate and mint's dance in her mouth. She was about to sink her fork in again when she felt a droplet on her right index finger, right above the freckle that prompted one of her first post-it note questions. Where do freckles come from? Did you feel a drop? Mom asked. Yeah, Niall said. Everyone take their plates, Dad called, grabbing the vase on the table. Safely inside, Em could see the storm getting worse. She looked over at Dad. You wanted Em to be a witch. Why not practice now? I think I can stop the rain, Em said. Mr. Wright started to laugh, but noticed no one else was, and then pretended he was coughing. What are we waiting for? Athena asked. Let's get our coats on. Em felt ridiculous. She usually liked walking in the rain, kept dry by her green raincoat, but now everyone was watching her. She closed her eyes. She imagined she was cloud-sized and walked up to one. Hey, she imagined herself saying to the cloud, can you, stop? Just for a bit. The cloud said nothing. She could tell the cloud disagreed. It shook its head. Sort of. She tried again. Stop, please. Lightning flashed faintly inside the cloud. Stop. With the crack of thunder, the rain came down harder. Her stomach clenched. What if I can't make it stop? She worried. Em studied the cloud. It had been waiting a long time to rain. It liked to rain. She knew it was hard to stop doing something you had been wanting to do for a long time. Sorry, Em said. I shouldn't have asked you to stop. Maybe she couldn't stop it from raining. How do you say goodbye to a cloud? Happy raining? Then the cloud did something else. Did it say goodbye back? No, but it gestured. Sort of. You want to move out of the way? Em asked. The cloud agreed. Em jumped twice in excitement. That would be awesome. Thank you. She opened her eyes and watched as the cloud glided away from the garden. was still raining on them, though, thanks to a second cloud. She closed her eyes again. She walked up to that cloud and politely asked it to move. I didn't understand until Em explained that just like the cloud had wanted to rain, she and her family had wanted to eat cake outside. A third cloud came to fill the gap left by the other two clouds, but the first cloud elbowed it out of the way with a wink. That wasn't a wink, because clouds can't wink. Em opened her eyes. It wasn't raining on the garden anymore, but it was raining on all 3 apartment buildings that bordered it. I did it, she said slowly. Nice, Niall said. Mom and Dad looked confused, but were smiling. Athena gave her a side hug. Good job, Em. That's my girl, Dad said. Mr. Wright came out, confused and unsmiling. What a coincidence, he said. Em's stomach nodded. She was going to argue, but he spoke first. I'm sorry for laughing earlier, he said. I accept your apology, Em said. He was probably scared that Em would turn him into a toad, making it a fake apology, but she didn't care. She had more important things to do than hold a grudge, like figuring out how to measure amoebas. Em was lying on her sister's bed, half playing Minecraft on Mom's phone, half watching her sister finish the poster. That was cool of you to stand up for yourself and say you could stop the rain, even though we embarrassed you earlier, Athena said. Thanks, Em replied. I mean it, Athena said. It's hard to do that. I'm proud of you. Had Athena ever said that before? Well, she said it when Em had dropped the cookie she had frosted. By the time Em was 4 and didn't understand sarcasm at all. But that probably didn't count. Athena took a deep breath. I have something to show you. She picked up her portfolio binder. Em beamed. Athena sat next to Em and opened it. The left page had 8 logos, and the right had a black and white photo of 2 flower petals on a windowsill. Em didn't care about logos, but close-ups of plants were pretty and scientifically interesting. Sometimes you could even see the stigma in the stamen. Athena turned the page to a sketch of 2 girls kissing. It was good. For a moment, Em was in the room with the 2 pen and ink girls, candlelight flickering on their faces. Athena looked at Em in anticipation. Em wasn't sure what Athena was anticipating until she noticed that the title of the drawing was Athena and Erica. Em wasn't sure what to say, so she hugged Athena instead. Then Em remembered something. She reached into the bottom of her bookshelf and found a post-it note she had been hiding from Athena. She handed it to her sister. Why won't Athena show me her portfolio? Athena smiled and laughed. Em grabbed her binder of answered questions and turned to a new page. Athena pressed the post-it note into the corner. What should I put down for the answer? Em asked. Athena started to twist her ponytail around her fingers slowly. She always did that when she was really thinking. I know, Athena said. She gently tore a page from her sketchbook, a rough pencil drawing of Athena and Erica. Athena held down the drawing while Em taped the note to it with masking tape. The end.
Thank you so much for being here, Alys, and reading that wonderful story. I was wondering, since it's Trans Pride, if you had anything you might want to share with the humans and non-humans who might be watching this story and having feelings about things.
Yeah, just something in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, not everyone has a family like Em's who supports her, and that can be really tough. But if that's the situation you're in, I guess I want you to know that there are a lot of us out there that will support you or would support you. And you can make a family out of the people you meet. It doesn't have to be the people you were born with.
Thank you again for coming today. And that's in the end of our show for now. And yeah, we'll see you all later. Thank you again, Alys, for reading.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.